Nobody anticipated Piers Morgan's purported actions on live television. Not his audience, not his detractors, and most definitely not the group responsible for Meghan Markle's meticulously manicured persona. However, sources claim that Piers did more than simply vent about Meghan throughout his program. He arrived with what onlookers claimed were receipts this time. Images that were purportedly removed off the internet years ago. Pictures that some individuals supposedly put a lot of effort into permanently hiding. These pictures weren't taken while she was a princess, nor were they from the red carpets of Hollywood. They were purportedly from her time at Soho House, including late-night events, secret parties, and intimate get-togethers that Meghan has never wanted to discuss in public. And as soon as those said pictures were on the television, one thing was expressed by those who viewed them. This is not the Meghan that was described to us. The public has been sold a narrative for years. Charming. She was selected by Meghan Markle, the diligent actress who somehow ended up in the royal family. However, these purported images provide a very different picture. A Meghan who is not faltering at all. A Meghan who is already positioned such that she could be seen by strong men. And the most important issue of all, struck like a tidal wave. Why were these pictures hidden for so long if they are authentic? You must comprehend the contrast in order to comprehend why the pictures were important. The Meghan Markle that most people are familiar with is the one from soft-focused films and glossy interviews. She's the girl who said that even after Suits began paying her actual money, she lived humbly, earned her way into acting, and grew up on a tight budget. She was the lady who wanted to focus on humanitarian work, manage a lifestyle blog, and assist others. It's a beautiful tale that's simple to accept and respect. However, the purported photos reveal a more subdued and acute tale that has always existed in the background, but has never truly emerged. Sources claiming to have seen the pictures depict Meghan in the company of affluent guys at exclusive Soho House gatherings. Not in a casual or just passing manner, but in a natural and comfortable place inside elite circles that the majority of people will never be able to access in their lifetimes. Regular actresses don't spend their evenings like this. Even well-known celebrities are turned away from membership-only venues, so this isn't how someone with Meghan's financial level gets in. Meghan was in rooms where powerful people and billionaires congregated somewhere along the route. Rooms that fit her way of life, but not the way she described it. And that's where the paradox starts. Because the question becomes less about what Meghan did and more about why she wanted everyone to forget it if the Meghan in the purported images was roaming through these private locations long before Harry and her public narrative erased all of it. You must comprehend the true nature of Soho House in order to grasp the core of the riddle. It is neither a hotel nor a restaurant, nor is it only a social club. Only a specific type of individual may pass through the gate that is Soho House. These properties are found all around the world and are members only. Every one of them is protected by a silent set of guidelines that keep out anyone who could attract unwelcome attention. The founder famously stated that they don't grant membership to anybody that cause controversy, draw paparazzi, or cause media uproar. However, Meghan had access to other Soho House sites in London, Toronto, New York, and beyond, not simply as a guest. At the time, she was a cable actress with a limited fan following. She referred to it as her headquarters, according to Harry's own account. There, she stored her bags. She was familiar with the employees. She had a sense of belonging as she went among the buildings. Global celebrities like Kobe Bryant and Kim Kardashian were denied admission. Meghan, however, entered with ease. And the narrative opens out with just that fact. You don't just walk into Soho House. You need a testimonial from someone. The door has to be opened by someone. She must be granted access by someone. The purported images, the power circles, and the secret history are all connected by just one question. Who let Meghan Markle in? Because it is not by accident that anyone without riches or renown joins Soho House. They enter because they were desired by a strong person. We are now at the point in the narrative where everything starts to make sense. The person who makes all the connections. His name keeps coming up in murmurs and pictures, constantly standing next to Meghan Markle like an enduring shadow. Marcus. Marcus was more than simply a buddy. Therefore, you had to understand him in order to comprehend Meghan's abrupt descent into elite social circles. She didn't merely meet him at a party. He served as Soho House's director of worldwide membership, the individual who actually made the decisions about who went into those secret chambers and who was permanently shut outside. Meghan was constantly on the inside for some reason. According to those with knowledge of the network, Marcus is the one who discreetly controls access for the biggest names in the world. For the select few, he unlocks doors. He sets up introductions. He chooses which up-and-coming talent gets exposed to millionaires and business titans. It's a position that demands trust, not from the general public, but from those who manage the globe in the background. Furthermore, Meghan knew more than simply Marcus. From Los Angeles to Toronto to New York to London to California, he is said to have followed her. Marcus reappeared city after city, not in a casual, merely visiting manner, but rather in a way that appeared deliberate, linked, and tactical. According to observers, friendships don't typically function that way. Unless the connection was unusual, executives with significant responsibilities don't relocate their life to remain close to an actress on a TV program, unless he was more than just a buddy to her. The pieces start to fit together when you include the long-standing assertion that Marcus introduced Meghan to Prince Harry. Because Meghan did not rise quickly. It wasn't disorderly. It was positioned, led, and steady, the sort of ascent that is collaborative. However, there is more to this tale, one that extends into a realm much more subdued than Soho House. The world of opulent parties, private boats, and affluent men who would rather have social gatherings away from cameras. Here, a guy by the name of Christopher Jones enters the picture. He reportedly stated that he was employed on the yacht circuit at the same time as Meghan. He said that their time in such setting coincided. To be sure, not all boat stories are scandalous. A few actresses accept networking invites. Some go to establish relationships in the industry. Some people attend just for the opportunity to be seen in private situations. However, the pattern is what makes these statements significant. Before she became well-known, Meghan made appearances in affluent social circles. Meghan has access to places that are much above her means. Meghan is said to have taken pictures with affluent older males. Meghan made contact with the director of Soho House who was well known in that community. When you include the yacht circuit in that pattern, her social situation before to Harry appears to be more of a deliberate ascent than pure chance. Meghan's name has frequently been used in the context of a system where rising actors date upward, forming links that can alter their careers, according to authors who examine celebrity yacht relationships. It was discovered that several of the boat photographs that were circulating online had misidentified ladies. That is accurate. Yet because the network is genuine, the rumors have persisted. Additionally, Meghan's established ties to that world continued to raise concerns. Additionally, questions that keep coming up typically have a purpose. This brings us to one of the story's most revealing moments. Meghan Markle has a reputation for fiercely defending her reputation. Newspapers have been sued by her. She has complained about TV hosts. She has called for stories that she didn't like to be completely removed, corrected, and clarified. She doesn't overlook anything. However, insiders claim that something odd occurred when Piers Morgan showed those pictures of the Soho House on television. Nothing, no statement, no denial, no letter from a lawyer, no threat of legal action, nothing. The quiet was louder than anything Meghan could have spoken, especially for someone as sensitive and self-conscious as she was. Because when a public figure declares anything fake, they often do it swiftly and firmly. Before it spreads, they put an end to it. If necessary, they contest it in court. However, a very other question is raised when someone remains silent. Is the quiet a tactic or an acknowledgement that retaliating would simply bring attention to something she never intended to be made public in the first place? This calm, inexplicable hush is the point at which the narrative transitions from being about rumors to something more serious and illuminating. Because the history that she supposedly attempted to erase has finally emerged from the shadows. It was much more difficult to disguise this time. In 2016, Meghan Markle had a casual drink with Piers Morgan before any royal drama, Oprah, documentaries, or podcasts. Just a casual conversation. They spent more than an hour conversing. Piers thought they were developing a sincere relationship, a business buddy, perhaps even a mentorship. However, Piers has never forgiven what transpired after that. Meghan didn't just go out again the very following night. She immediately proceeded to Soho House, had supper with Prince Harry, and then permanently disappeared from Piers' world. There was total quiet, no message, no justification, no gratitude. Being ghosted irritates most people. Things rapidly got out of control following that night, which made it personal for Piers Morgan. Meghan made headlines throughout the world. Her romance with Harry became well known. The moment she met someone more significant, Piers recognized he had been cut off, and the palace verified their romance. The Oprah interview followed. Then Piers was publicly criticized. Then the response became so severe that he lost his job and left his own show live on television. That was not the end of it. He never came back in part because Meghan herself denounced him to ITV. People didn't perceive a random attack when they learned that Piers had supposedly shown such pictures. They witnessed a man who had been anticipating this moment for years, finally possessing what he thought was evidence that Meghan wasn't who she claimed to be. The guy felt deceived, embarrassed, and excluded. It wasn't a section. This was the settlement of a score. A new image starts to take shape after all the components. The pictures, the access, the networks, the introductions, and the silence are placed on the table. One that doesn't appear accidental. One that doesn't resemble chance, fate, or fairy tales. A pattern of meticulous research and calculated placement is described by those who have closely monitored Meghan's ascent. Growing up, Meghan studied characters, acted, and observed people. Some say she utilized this observational aptitude to create the precise persona she required at every stage of her life. She rapidly adjusted when she joined exclusive circles. She had to adjust once again when she got into royal circles. Her mannerisms, emotional expressions, and even the way she interacted with Harry were all allegedly based after Princess Diana by some onlookers. The pattern is the same whether or not that is the case. She learned how to blend in seamlessly with any setting she encountered. Because they suggest that her tale didn't begin with Harry, the purported Soho House images created a lot of controversy. The palace wasn't where it all began. It's possible that her ascent started years ago in a world she has never recognized in public and may have attempted to put behind. There are two sides to every fairy tale. There is the polished version, full of light, hope, and destiny, written for the world to appreciate. There's also the version that exists behind the scenes, the one molded by decisions, connections, chances, and secrets that were never supposed to be revealed. The original version of Meghan Markle's story, the courageous actress who fell in love with a prince, has always been told. The foreigner who assumed a regal role. The lady who altered the story and the system. However, the second version briefly appeared when those purported images came to light. Long before Harry, a version was constructed. A version created in quiet introductions, restricted networks, and secret rooms. A version backed by individuals and locations she has never described to the general public. And the fairy tale starts to falter if those fragments of her history are true. Not because of controversy or rumors, but rather because it becomes evident that Meghan's public persona may not accurately reflect her true existence. The photograph's significance is no longer the question. It's what they stand for. What more is hidden behind the curtain? If this aspect of her narrative was concealed, these circles existed in her life long before she became a princess, and her ascent was aided by a network she never disclosed. What more was supposed to be found? This is not the end of the fairy tale. Not by a long distance, but the stage lights are changing, and the truth, in whatever shape it takes, is moving forward moment by moment, piece by piece, and photograph after photograph. And the truth never returns to the shadows once it starts to emerge.